Good afternoon. This article on UnHerd, on the UnHerd by David Rose and Lucy de Oliveira, absolutely staggering, builds on what we saw from the interview between Andy Hale and David Rose the other night. It's extraordinary. I'm just going to read it out. I know Carl's done that already, but I'm just going to do this in the spirit of as many iterations of this article that are out there, that people might not see it, they might not know of UnHerd, might not find a route to it, might not be on Twitter. So as much as this information get out there as possible, that's the reason why I'm just reading it through and not particularly commenting on it. I'm just going to read it through and hope that as many people do as many videos about this as possible, just to talk about it. We need millions of people to be talking about this, what should be really perjury, I think. I think people are using that word. They're using the P word. UnHerd, and I'll put the archived link, thanks to Catherine and Richard for that, the archived link, so you can read the article for free here as well. I do want to support UnHerd, but obviously at the same time want as many people to see and know the content of this article as possible. That's what the priority is. Mark McDonald's saying that, got to keep the narrative going out there and magnifying it as much as possible. Hidden email casts doubt on Lucy Letby verdict. It certainly does that. By David Rose and Lucy de Oliveira. April the 12th, today, filed at, or published at 12 p.m. So just 4 hours ago, pretty much. This is huge. I'm going to read it. The case against nurse Lucy Letby is weakening. Though she was convicted of killing 7 babies and attempting to murder 7 more, only one hospital staff member, consultant Dr. Ravi Jayaram, claims to have seen her act suspiciously. Jayaram's testimony was key in both trials over the attempted murder of the infant known as baby K. After the first jury failed to agree, Lucy Letby was convicted and sentenced to a whole life order for this crime last July, that's 2024. The central pillars of her other guilty verdicts are the claim that she was always present when babies died or collapsed unexpectedly, and medical evidence which has come under sustained attack from British and international experts who say that none of the infants were deliberately harmed. According to Jayaram's testimony, when he walked into a room where nurse Lucy Letby was alone with baby K, he discovered that the infant's oxygen levels had plummeted because her breathing tube had been dislodged, and that the nurse was standing over the baby's cot without raising the alarm. Quote, Lucy Letby was stood next to the incubator. She wasn't looking at me. She didn't have her hands in the incubator. He told the court at her retrial. That's Jayaram telling the court that at the retrial last summer. Yet, this is the crucial bit, in an email seen by UnHerd, Jayaram initially suggested that, in fact, nurse Lucy Letby had called him for help. And this was why he went to see baby K. This was exculpatory evidence that could have helped Lucy Letby's defence team, yet her lawyers were not told of its existence before either trial. I'm just resisting commenting on it. I'll just read it. It was not disclosed to them until late September last year, i.e. not disclosed to the defence team. Born at 25 weeks on the 17th of February 2016, baby K struggled to breathe and was placed on a ventilator. Jayaram was first interviewed by police in September 2017 about the rise in neonatal deaths at nurse Lucy Letby's unit. Really? Was he first interviewed? I thought he was interviewed before that. I thought when he did the punching the air thing, I thought he was... Anyway, I'll leave that to one side. He recalled checking on baby, maybe about this particular matter, I don't know. Anyway, he recalled checking on baby K unprompted, saying, I hadn't walked in because I'd been called. I walked in just to check. Sorry, he recalled checking on baby K unprompted, saying, I hadn't walked in because I'd been called. I walked in just to check. And that's the line because that's the bit where he's, this is me speaking now. He was having the nightmares and not the nightmares. He was hysterical, wasn't he? He was hysterical. And he thought, I'm being hysterical here, but I've got to be careful, and I've got to save, I've got to be the hero of the hour. I'm feeling hysterical and, all that kind of business. On several further occasions, Jayaram repeated the claim that no one had warned him there was a problem before he entered baby K's room. In statements to the police, in his courtroom evidence at Nurse Lucy Letby's trials, and at the public inquiry chaired by Lady Justice Thirlwall, whose report is expected later this year. In one statement in 2018, he said that usually when a baby's oxygen level fell, a nurse would come looking for a doctor to assist. But Nurse Lucy Letby had not called me in. Giving evidence at Nurse Lucy Letby's retrial, he said that when he was told that another nurse who had been looking after baby K was going to leave her alone with Nurse Lucy Letby in order to speak to the infant's parents, he became deeply concerned because, quote, this is Jayaram, we had a number of unusual incidents with babies, close quote, and he had, quote, noted the association with Nurse Lucy Letby being present. This made him feel, quote, very uncomfortable and hysterical, he tells us, doesn't he? Was I being hysterical, he says. But he had to check. Which was why he went to check, because he was uncomfortable. Finding baby K was desaturating while Nurse Letby did nothing to help her. Prosecuting counsel Nick Johnson Casey asked Jayaram, did you hear any call for help from Nurse Lucy Letby? His answer, no, not at all. Yeah, okay. The prosecution said that Nurse Letby had deliberately dislodged the breathing tube and that Jayaram had caught her, quote, virtually red-handed, close quote. That old phrase that's been poured over a lot, isn't it? Virtually red-handed. Later, at the Thirlwall inquiry, Jayaram said he wished he had reported the incident at the time. Open quote, I lie awake thinking about this. I should have been braver. Yeah, you should have been more honest. How about that? Start with the honesty. It's coming, Jayaram. It's coming. Yet, in his first accounts of baby K's desaturation, Jayaram wrote that far from going to check baby K because he felt uncomfortable that she was alone with Nurse Letby, the real reason was that Nurse Letby herself had raised the alarm and asked him for help. He set this out in an email to 7 of his colleagues, the gang of 7, who would have all seen it. So they all know too, don't they? They all know too. They've all perjured themselves by keeping that to themselves. Sorry, I'm just adding this in as I'm realising it. It's not just him perjuring himself, they all know it too. And the police and the CP, anyway, the list goes on. He set this out in an email to 7 of his colleagues dated the 4th of May, 2017. Its timing was significant. The previous July, Nurse Letby had been moved to clerical work, the island of lost souls, as a result, as Jayaram called it, as a result of concerns raised by Jayaram and other doctors. But she had lodged a grievance for bullying and harassment, quite rightly, and this had been upheld, quite rightly. Now the doctors were hoping to involve the police, who at first had seemed reluctant. Jayaram was commenting on a draft of a report they would shortly send to detectives, asking them to investigate. He was blunt about his purpose, quote, for the police to have their interests piqued. That's what came up with the interview on Andy Hale's channel. For the police to have their interests piqued, Jayaram says. To do this, he suggested, the doctors should, quote, highlight explicitly for these cases that Lucy Letby was in attendance and in close proximity to the incubators. In those situations, we know for a fact she was, close quote. He went on to suggest additions to the report about cases with which he had been involved, quote, hopefully more in a stating the facts way than a subjective finger-pointing way. Yeah, hopefully the facts. Yeah, just hopefully though, you know. Jayaram's email described baby K's deterioration and suggested Nurse Letby called him about the low oxygen levels, a detail that appears to conflict with his later testimony. Well, it just palpably does conflict with it. After the other nurse left the room, he wrote, quote, staff nurse Letby was at the incubator and called Dr. Jayaram to inform of low saturations. Well, it explicitly conflicts with it, doesn't it? It's an explicit. He also wrote that the baby's subsequent death was consistent with complications from extreme prematurity. The section in the email about baby K was not included in the final report to the police. Now, why would that be? Why would that be? Jayaram's email was not disclosed to the defence before Nurse Lucy Letby's trials. Now, why would that be? In other documents seen by UnHerd, I'm putting those phrases in, Cheshire Police and the Crown Prosecution Service state that they only became aware of it in August 2024. Right. Itchy chin. Yeah, okay. Well, 1 month after Nurse Letby had been convicted of attempting to murder baby K. Oh, well, yeah, that's convenient, isn't it? Only became aware of it then. Do I believe them? No, don't believe them. Sorry, don't believe any of them about anything. However, the documents say it was supplied to the Thirlwall inquiry, but it was not discussed there, nor published on its website. Wonder why that would be. That's me saying that. We asked the inquiry whether it received the email before or after Nurse Letby's retrial, but it refused to comment. Oh, it's staggering. Well, don't need to comment on it. It's all, don't need to comment on it. You can see what it is. You can see what this, it was not until late September that Nurse Letby's former defence team was finally sent. The former team finally sent the email by Operation Duet. Oh my God, they're calling it Operation Duet. Yeah, Duet for one. Operation Duet. Can't get past that. The police inquiry into possible corporate or gross negligence manslaughter at the Chester Hospital unit. We understand it will now be added to the dossier submitted by Nurse Letby's lawyer Mark MacDonald to the Criminal Cases Review Commission, CCRC, which is being asked to refer the case back to the Court of Appeal. Last paragraph. Jayaram did not respond to a request for comment. Yeah, he wouldn't, would he? A countess of Chester Hospital spokesperson told UnHerd, due to the Thirlwall inquiry and ongoing police investigations, it would not be appropriate to comment further at this time. That old chestnut, yeah, they're doing that. Bloody hell. I'll leave it there. I don't need to comment on it any further. It's obvious what it... But that's the thing, and I'm not noticing people saying this, but maybe they are already. He sent that email to 7 people. So you got him perjuring himself, I believe, already. But they're aware of it as well. They're all aware of that as well. Those 7 people, all the whole team, the gang of 7 that in Stuart Gillam's most recent video, you got Gibbs there crowing about, oh no, it wasn't a gang of 4, it was a gang of 7. Every one of those bastards knows that Jayaram was lying in court. So by extension, they're complicit in that lie, are they not? Aren't they? I don't know how it works legally, but morally they're complicit in it. All of them, in terms of them being made aware that they hadn't forgotten it, had they? None of them had forgotten it. Dr. B, Dr. ZA, Dr. Saladi, Dr. Gibbs, Dr. Breary, obviously, and the other two, the full seven. I can't remember. Well, there's another one, isn't there? I can't remember the names now. I've got the list of them somewhere. Anyway, all seven of them, the magnificent, the not magnificent seven, all received that email and they all knew about it. Or the other six or whatever, but it says seven here. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't want to, no need to witter on. I'll put the link below, and I'll put a link to Carl's video about this as well. I'm just saying the more that people keep like hammering this out there, that the more people all over the world can just see what horrific, we know it already, it's a horrific miscarriage of justice, but just want to see, this is big, this is huge. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.